Ladies and gentlemen, karibuni tena katika Skyman TV, the tallest man in Black Africa. I've seen guys regretting why they voted for William Ruto in 2022. In fact, I have a number of friends who actually were mad with me when I told them that in 2022 the best person to occupy that office, the person who was most fitted to occupy that office, was none other than Raila Odinga. And the man reminded me how he was angry with me. But nikamwambia kwamba maybe if we don't vote for William Ruto, labda watu hawangejua William Ruto ni nani. It is good because I told him hapo beleni Wakenya wengi walikuwa wakihadaiwa, wakiwaambiwa kwamba maendeleo yote ambayo yalikuwa yanapatikana katika serikali ya Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta yalipatikana kwa sababu ya William Ruto. And many people actually have now seen the president that we have, the president who has raised taxes, the president who is carrying more than 30 people in the entourage, the president who is taxing everything, taxing salaries, taxing mama boga, watu ambao labda hutungetarajia kwamba wangekuwa wakilipa kodi. And despite the fact that he has been talking about austerity measures, we have seen him using a jet that is costing 200 million. And again, when you look at the president, we have seen that already he is on his 55th foreign trip. And all these trips actually zimetumia pesa nyingi sana, mabilioni ya pesa, lakini ukiangalia kile ambacho tumevuna, kile ambacho tumeona ni kitu ambacho hakina maana sana. And just like I said that time, I'll repeat it even now, that even now we cannot expect much from William Ruto, kwa sababu dalili ya mvua ni mawingu na siku njema huonekana asubuhi. Just 2 years down the line, and everybody is complaining, everybody is lamenting, because if you ask, for example, why he even carried a comedian in the foreign trip, that US trip, sana jiuliza comedian anaenda kufanya nini kule in that trip. Kwa hivyo kile ambacho ningetaka kusema hapa ni kwamba it is good that William Ruto became the president. I would say it is good if you ask me, because people have learned the lesson. But I would plead with William Ruto, I would plead with him to increase taxes. Yani hawa watu wanafaa kulipa kodi kabisa mpaka watu wajue ukweli. You know, one thing I know about God, whatever I conceive him to be, I don't know what you conceive him to be. One thing I know about God is that normally when people turn out to be bad people, when they turn out to be against God, wakati ambapo mienendo yao inakuwa si mizuri, God will always give them a bad king. And I want you to look at the people of Israel. Anytime that they would disobey God, God would give them a very ruthless king who would punish them, and they would regret. In fact, what William Ruto is doing is what all the bad kings were used to do during that time of the Israelites. When you look at Kenyans again, I strongly believe that God is also passing a strong message to Kenyans. God is trying to convey a message to us that maybe we are lost. Maybe we need to turn to God, because all said and done, you cannot tell me, people cannot understand why a Kenya, which is dominated by Christians and Muslims, very prayerful people from all angles, why should Kenyans continue to suffer like this? And then when you go to developed countries in Europe and North America, where you find atheists, but they are first world countries. Sasa unajiuliza maswali mengi hata kuhusu ile imani yetu. Is it that we are not worshiping the true God? Is it that we are using the church maybe to rob our people, because I was trying to reflect on this and I was looking at the way watu walikuwa wanasema kwamba eti William Samoei Ruto was a God's candidate. I remember the guy Gachagua, who was actually that time telling Kenyans that for the first time the church had a candidate. I remember, I don't know whether you remember. Do you remember Gachagua saying those words? For the first time, the Church of Christ has a candidate. And that was William Samoei Ruto. Today, Rigathi Gachagua is even crying. And then you ask yourself, if Rigathi Gachagua is crying, if Rigathi Gachagua is feeling the heat of William Samoei Ruto, what about Mama Boga? What about mtu wa mkokoteni? What about mtu wa kawaida? Today, if you look at Mama Boga, today if you look at mtu wa mkokoteni, hakuna mtu ambaye anataka kuhusishwa na William Samoei Ruto. Today, if you look at wale watu wa bodaboda, because when you look at the businesses are literally collapsing and they have actually collapsed. For example, if you look at bodaboda, utakubali ya kwamba utaona kwamba the importation of motorcycles actually decreased by over 100%, and because of two reasons. One, because of the high taxation, and number two, because of the high cost of fuel. Sasa watu wanajiuliza sasa hizi biashara hata ni za nini? And if you look at around, utaona kwamba hata ile migurumo ya bodaboda dudhi utapata kwamba imepungua kiasi, imepunguka kabisa, sio kama pale beleni ambapo tulikuwa tunaona vijana wetu wakijaribu kujishajisha na kujaribu kujipatia mapato, agawa pate kitoweo, agawa pate chajio na kitu cha kusabeha asubuhi. But now what we are expecting is that things are turning out to be very, very bad. Things are turning out to be not what people expected. Again, when you look at some of the things that are happening, you realize that things can only be worse. And even those trips that are there, though they have been hyped, and you realize that all this is meant to maybe try to replace China, because China is becoming very dominant in Africa. And when you look at Joe Biden administration is very much worried by China, that is, because China is coming, is building roads, is coming, is building bridges, is coming, is doing so many things, and America needs somebody who can actually lobby for America, and that person turns out to be William Samoei Ruto. That person turns out to be the person they want to lead, because they are looking at William Samoei Ruto and they are looking at a number of things about William Samoei Ruto. One thing that they are looking is that William Samoei Ruto is an eloquent person. He has all the gift of the gaps. He's very, very convincing. And again, he has a lot of energy. William Samoei Ruto has a lot of energy, all said and done. They are looking at somebody who can convince Africa about America, and therefore the people can now start looking at China with high desert. Kwa sababu kile ambacho tumeona ni kwamba tumeona China stamping her authority in Africa, China coming in a very big way and trying to displace the Western Europe and North America, na kile kitu ambacho kinakuja kutokea hapa ni kwamba unapata kwa mfano wakati ambapo William Samoei Ruto atakutana na Joe Biden, one thing that you realize is that they have to talk about Haiti. Haiti is not benefiting Kenya in any way, because you see we have to sacrifice our good men and women. Secondly, they are going to talk about maybe technology. And this technology, what we are realizing is that our people are very much gifted in far as technology is concerned. When you look at the penetration of maybe mobile phones in Kenya, I think it's among the best in the world, which is very good. And all this is because of Mwai Kibaki's good policy. And when you look at it now, America wants to exploit this so that it can benefit her people. Because, as I've always said, when you look at American foreign policy, it talks about America first, and then the interests of other countries follow. So when you look at our country today, and I'm telling some guys that even this trip in USA could give birth to the NADCO government. Mshagai mkiona the NADCO government, labda inaweza hata kuudwa kule, because in politics what is important, you see, any president would like to consolidate power. And when you look at William Samoei Ruto, now that Rigathi Gachagua is raising his head, is asking hard questions, is trying to maybe bring the people of Mount Kenya together. Kile ambacho tunaweza tukaona ni kwamba William Samoei Ruto, because as I've already said, Any good leader, any person who is interested with power must consolidate all the powers, and that is what William Ruto has been doing. And now, because a challenge is coming from Mount Kenya, and Mount Kenya people are saying that they are likely to present a card in 2027, then we are likely to see the NADCO government. There could be more than meets the eye kwa sababu ya vile ambavyo tunavyoona pale. I'm looking again at the people in the entourage of William Ruto, and I'm seeing the people of Azimio Dani kabisa. I've seen even people who not even expect that they'll be there. Wamo mle Dani kabisa. All at the expense of taxpayers. And this is the government that talked about austerity measures again. And I don't know what you think, but when you look at what is happening, things can only get worse. When you look at William Ruto can only tax Kenyans. But by the way, I've always said that let him continue taxing Kenyans. We have obligations to pay taxes. And until we are overtaxed, we cannot actually change. Sometimes Waswahili wanasema ukupigao ndio ukufunzao. Je, wa Kenya tumefunzwa? Guys, like the video. Subscribe to this channel if you have never, and have a blessed evening. Bye bye.